and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the 4x4 campervan. 10 days ago, this car passed the MOT, still with no interior other than the front seats. 9 days ago, we started to build an interior, and I think 7 days ago, we took it on a 5-day trip, not a long one, but it was to test it out. The duration of this trip wasn't the important bit, it was more getting to know the van, getting to know how we liked it, figuring out if we even like this kind of camping style, and finding out what we need and what we don't need in the van. And I gotta say that it has surpassed all expectations so far. Remember, this has not been driven for like 15 years. It has just passed the MOT. I have done a lot of work to it, but I could have done a lot more before taking it on the first trip. But we decided to just try it out and see what happens. And it really went above all expectations. Of course, I brought a lot of tools so I could fix a lot of stuff if anything went wrong. But to be honest, I really didn't need it. This van has just been so reliable, so nice to drive, working so well. It's not perfect though. There is a lot of stuff wrong. There's a lot of stuff that is worn. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you would maybe expect on an old French car, or actually half Italian. I don't think that makes it much better. Maybe you could hear that, for instance. The drive shaft on the front left is clicking under load. That means that is about to go. It's very rare that a drive shaft snaps, but I'm gonna change it as fast as possible because I have actually experienced quite a lot of drive shaft snapping. And this does not have any differential lock systems, so a snap drive shaft would leave it stranded completely. So I already ordered a new one. I'm gonna change that very soon. And until then, I'm just gonna turn a bit less tight than I would normally do. I'm just gonna try to avoid it clicking. But other than that, it's really doing great. We had it up to 110 kilometers per hour on the motorway. We could have pushed it further, but yeah, it's not pleasant. But it got a lot of power for a van like this. I owned a lot of Volkswagen Syncros in the past, and those are just so underpowered. But this one got just the right amount for this kind of application. It got 95 horsepower with a turbo diesel, so it's strong horsepower, and it's more than enough for this one. And the 4x4 system that's the thing that I'm most happy about this van, because it makes it possible to go so many places where you wouldn't normally want to go or wouldn't dare to go, because the risk of getting stuck is so big in a heavy big car with rear-wheel drive, for instance. But that is not a problem on this one at all. I do not have any differential locks, but still I have a 4x4 system that delivers power to the rear if needed, which is really great. We had the van out on beaches and in deep sand and in forests, and there is no problem. We haven't tested it hard yet, but it is really coping good so far. But let me give you a tour of the van. And keep in mind that this is built in 2 days and it's work in progress. But right here we have the bed, a very, very big bed. Maybe a bit too big, but it's just nice to have a lot of room. These mattresses folds together. And then to remove the bed, this plate is is foldable. So we can fold it like that and then fit it right behind the kitchen like that. And then this support for the bed just pushes in like that. And then this plate just folds over like this. And then we have a table and a couch. Underneath this couch thingy, then we have a lot of storage room down here. A lot. This is where I kept a lot of the tools. And over here we have a power supply station for the rear of the van. This is to make it possible to recharge your phones and use different electrical equipment back here, lighting and for instance. There is another battery up front that starts the engine, and they are actually connected via this voltage sensitive relay. That means that when the car is charging by the generator, it will charge up both batteries, but when you switch the engine off and the voltage drops below 12.8, then this will divide the two batteries. That means we can use this battery completely and drain it, and then still being able to start the van, which is really nice when you're parked in a forest or something like that, and you can't just ask someone to help with some starter cables or something like that. So that's really nice. There's a fuse box right there. And then there is this, which is a voltage meter showing us how much power is on it at the moment. The engine has just been started, so it's still showing 13 volts. Then this makes it possible to just switch off the electrical system in the rear. Then we have a 12 volt cigarette style charger. Over here we have a USB style charger. The power also pulls this, which is our sink. And it was really difficult to find a small enough sink to not just take up a lot of room. And this is actually a lampshade upside down from IKEA. And that was just perfect. Yeah. And via this switch, we can turn it on and water comes out. That's really nice. I like that. The water is down the container back there. It's a 20 liters. It's a bit too small, maybe, but maybe we could lower the pressure a bit on that facet thing, because it's really draining it quickly. This big aluminum box contains all our pots and pans and cups and yeah, everything you need in the kitchen to eat and drink. Then this can be turned like that, and then we can pull out this. This is the stove. 2 stoves, so we can fry and boil at the same time. That's really been useful. We've been eating a lot of carbonara in the car. And the stove is just pushed back in and locked with this very crude solution, but it works. Underneath the table is of course the wheel, just like there. So there's not a lot of lost space, but there is a bit of space back here that can be reached from the rear of the van. And actually I just have all my fishing equipment in there at the moment. The fishing rod can lay on top of the wheel, so that's perfect. Yeah, all of this is built in 2 days, and I actually thought we would just rip it out when we came back, but at the moment it's working a lot better than expected. And I think we're going to keep it and then just alter it a bit along the way. But it's really great. In the future, there will be many more videos on this, fixing the mechanical stuff, maybe changing some of the interior stuff, and many other things. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, then you should stick around, I think. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.